Welcome. How y'all doing? Welcome to the VRMLCon preliminaries. Anyways, whoa, I lost all my notes. Sorry about that. Anyways, welcome to the biggest event this summer besides, of course, VRMLCon. Today we'll have an amazing set of games over the next, I believe, 2 hours. My name is Martini, and today I have RetroCat in the casting booth with me. How are y'all doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Ready to see these teams just compete for a position to play on stage at VRMLCon. If that is correct, it's just going to be just like the 2 other cups. It's just going to be amazing top teams playing here today, Martini. Epic Driftball action. I think 4v4 we got like a slightly new change to it, so we're gonna love to see that on the stream here today, Martini.
Oh yeah, it'll definitely be exciting to see. I know there's been a couple changes obviously since we've last had these things, and a reminder to everyone that 4v4 is still very much being worked out. The devs are still working things out, seeing how they like the game to be played, and of course they're trying to keep it as good as they possibly can for competitive play here. So I think the teams are at least in the arena will get started pretty soon here, but I mean, let's talk about what we're expecting to see here today. So remember, this is of course 4v4s between these 2 teams. It's gonna be a best of 3. I know it's a little different the Ignition Cup, but it's best of 3. We're gonna do Swiss style bracket again. 5 games in total, 8 teams I believe in total playing today. And really the biggest thing is these are the preliminaries to VRMLCon, so this will basically assign each team their seeding for when they actually play in VRMLCon, right? And the reason why that matters is if you end up getting the 8th seed, that means when you go to VRMLCon, you'll be playing against the first top tier team immediately off the rip, which is a little challenging, right? You want to be a team, if you're that good, you obviously want to get first seeding and just knock out the 8th place and keep moving on. And that's why seeding does matter. It impacts how deep you get into the actual games, right? So that's why it is a big deal how they play today and where they end up getting seeded going forward here. But I mean, this is IVNA, a team that is well known, I think, in the space here in both NA and their EU counterparts. And I actually did a podcast interview with them the other day. They're a well-known team that has so many, teams doing so many different things. So it's exciting to see how IB does this. Big backs. I recognize a lot of the names here. There, I think a lot of people in the community. Tall Dude, Chowtown, Tila. I've seen a lot of those names time and time again. So this will be an interesting matchup between these 2 teams, between community and I think some YouTubers and content creators. I think on the big back side there that I'm recognizing. But I mean, what are you expecting to see here, RetroCat, just in general from today's tournament?
From what I've been seeing from like most of these teams during the Ignition Cup, I'm gonna see like some of these like things we've seen before with some passing, maybe some double committing, and just overall just great communication. They are really competing for this spot to play on stage, so it's gonna be really scary for both of these teams competing. But I think it's just going to be one show.
Yeah, it should be a great show. Again, I know the first couple rounds are kind of funky, right, with Swiss style bracket. We've seen this already with the Ignition Cup and the what was the first cup? It starts with a P. I forgot. Pioneer Cup. Because Swiss style is kind of funky, right? It starts matching people against people on their skill level once they get more information. That's going to happen obviously towards round 2, round 3, and then obviously rounds 4 and 5 will be some of the most, I think, intense matchups we should be seeing between these 2 teams. And I think also because it's such a small amount of teams, it also like kind of just fill out whoever's left over at this point, right? But before we go any forward, I do want to give some sponsors and shout out to some quick things really fast here. Another Axiom, of course. Shout out to one of my personal favorite sponsors, Another Axiom, for providing us with the game we love, and of course for supporting these tournaments for VRML. And potentially we'll see if we go into a seasons format later on, right? And of course, if you have not been paying attention, don't forget VRMLCon 2025 is going to be in Phoenix, Arizona. It's in a month. A lot of casters, I think, are going to be there. So we'll be in person, having fun. I will be running an IRL, like 24/7 stream during VRMLCon, so it'll be fun to see. But also, if you want to join any of the tournaments, head online to the VRMLCon website. Make sure to grab your tickets. Obviously, it's a little late for some of that because the teams are already playing today. But if you want to go in person and see these teams perform, that is what you got to do here. But I think that'll be it for now, RetroCat. I'm gonna go. We're gonna double check in with the teams, make sure they're ready to go. So I'll send us on a really quick ad break. We'll be back in just a bit here.
VR Master League and Another Axiom are proud to introduce the Phoenix Driftball Invitational, Orion Drift's first ever on-stage tournament at VRMLCon 2025. For those attending the event, gather your team and enter for a chance to play on stage and compete for the $5,000 grand prize.
The format is simple. Phase 1 is an online open qualifier bracket where every team that enters will battle it out for a top seed. The top 16 teams from the qualifier will earn their spot on stage and move forward to compete at VRMLCon on July 27th.
The competition truly begins with the Phoenix phase, a single elimination bracket played in person across 2 different stages throughout the day. It all culminates in the Driftball Grand Finals, the closing act of the event, where only one champion can be crowned.
Want to throw your hat in the ring? Use the VRML Discords to find a team of fellow attendees and sign up using the form in the server. Just remember, all players must have tickets and be attending the event to sign up. Online players will not be eligible for the Phoenix stage.
VRMLCon 2025 is shaping up to be the event of a lifetime. Don't miss your chance for an unforgettable VR experience. Get your tickets and sign up for the Phoenix Invitational today.
Prepare to start.
Only Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody's
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point.
All right, hopefully y'all weren't waiting too long there. I believe we should be going in pretty soon between these two teams. IVNA, we'll be watching IVNA and Big Backs playing between these two teams. Again, I mean, what else can I say? IV is a team that's well known in the community. Big Backs actually has a fair amount of players that are, I think, either content creators or community managers themselves, or they're you know, very, not community managers, but people that do things in the community. Community leaders, I think, is a better way of wording it here, but they're definitely excited to see people playing. I've been having a lot of screaming in my ear from the spectator bot, but hey, that shows just how excited these teams are, and I'm excited to see what happens, right? All of these teams, will be seeing them live in person, and I will tell you myself, being at VRMLCon last year, granted it was for Breachers, but doing it live and having casting live and hearing, you know, the crowd cheering and the players reacting is just insane. And there's really nothing quite like it. So I'm excited to see how, you know, Orion Drift looks live on stage, right? I've gotten so hyped from just these VODs themselves. So I'm excited to see what it looks like in person here, right? And, you know, shout out to people in the chat there. I saw Little Boy said Chowtown lock in on the big back side. So it looks like a lot of love in the chat right now for big backs. And I love that. I love seeing the community come in together and just, you know, hop in the chat. Looks like we'll be getting started pretty soon here. So I'm going to pull this right into here. Retro Cat, here we go. We're starting pretty soon here. I believe I got to switch the teams actually. We're going to be having big backs on what is up with the icon. Never mind. I'll deal with the icon thing later, but big backs here, I believe, on purple. Am I blind? Sorry, let me swap this. There you go. That's a great shot already there coming from IVNA, as that was not looking great right now for big backs. But hey, the game has just started. Retro Cat will be hopping in pretty soon here.
Looks like it's just going to be score after score with another point. Looks like they're just going to be scoring just early here into the game. Looks like they're going to be taking possession from the ball, trying to wait for an opportunity here. Going to be taking it up, gaining that speed as Mozzie takes possession of the ball. Going to go straight up here. Going to be throwing it back to cross to that nest point. Going to be just scrambling for the ball as they looks like they're going to be taking possession, throwing it straight up to the nest point. Going to just that scramble of just what we just saw right there, Martini.
Yeah, things didn't quite work out for them as they lost possession already, but it's very much in play for the IVNA defensive side here. But Yuki's going to have something to say about that as they move it down the arena here to the big back side as they send that as a pass over, but it gets intercepted by Gith Yankee. Is that how you say it? I don't know. Some of these names are funky here as Gith Yankee comes in again for that tackle, and it looks like Styles for the follow-up there to move it down the arena here. Sends it down deep, but it gets picked up by JDG here as they are going to be sending it back over all the way to Lara's hands, and they go in for the cross, but it does hit some unfortunate geometry there.
Looks like they're going to be playing well under tunnel as Mozzie's going to take possession of the ball, taking that possession, looking for that opportunity, but just gets slammed out of the air. Could be anybody's ball. It's just going to pass up to his teammate. He's on top of Donut right now, going straight up to take that possession. Going to go throw it back up on the bridge. Back straight. Could this be a goal, Martini? And it just, but just his teammate rushes straight there for the save like a superhero straight into the goal.
Yeah, that's a beautiful shot there by IVNA Big Backs. Looks like they're trying to do their best already. Sends it. That's a beautiful triple pass there. Finishing it down with Chowtown. Can they get the last one? They can. And unfortunately gets picked up by the goalie there as that is beautifully played.
We got 2 points and 1 at this game with 2 minutes remaining onto the clock right here. This could be a game where we could see it going into overtime here if they get another score and keep the ball from possession. Speaking about getting another point, they're going to be throwing that over to the other side. Of Styles is going to try to tackle that. Looks like they're going to be booming it straight across. Could be anybody's going to go straight up onto the ground right here. Going to be trying to tackling that for the possession. Going to go back to Mozzie. Mozzie's going to get that, but Chowtown going to take that back, going straight up onto the air. Going to be passing that over to his teammate. Going to be rushing straight down to the field. Could this be a point? Martini's going. He's rushing, but the ball just goes up into the air. Going to be throwing it back to his teammate, just back and left right here, going straight towards the goal.
Chowtown trying to get the dribbles around. Unfortunately, IVNA defenders doing such a good job here. But man, look at this. Ivy's actually struggling to keep it out of their side here. But I will say they're technically up 1 right now, so it's not killing them too much. But right now, in terms of possession, Big Backs are definitely doing a really good job here against the IVNA players here. Chowtown again trying to fight for it, but gets fought back and forth here. What is that middle area called? I'm not sure. That's a new geometry for me. And Yuki trying to follow that up. What's up?
I call it Donut.
Donut? Okay. I mean, Donut inside the halo. I love that. Anyways, Lara picks it up on the defensive side, trying to dribble around, but it keeps getting tackled by these big back players.
Looks like Chowtown's going to take it. He's going to be chowing down onto the ball and throwing it straight into the goal. And he pops a little miss right there. Looks like Mozzie is going to be taking possession of the ball, going straight up. Going to be waiting for his turn, seeing where he could throw the ball right here. He's going to be rushing straight down, going Val, but it's going to just be tackled right there. Could be anybody's possession right here. He's going to try to throw back to his teammates. It is currently 2-2 right now, and we're at 50 seconds remaining onto the clock. It is getting a little scary here because it could go into overtime.
Yeah, it looks like we're definitely going to be going into overtime territory here. 40 seconds left on the clock, counting down here. Styles trying to get their hand on the ball before the IVNA attackers can. And talk about dodging Mozzie there, as Gizgeki just gets tackled in the last second. That's unfortunate. Sends it over to the tall dude. Tall dude moving down the arena now, having to face a 1v3 here with a leech on the back. Laura defending it in the last second there, and that is so unlucky right now for the IVNA players. And Big Bags trying their best to get at least round 1 in the pocket. Remember, this is best of 3, so these first couple rounds really do matter the most.
So Chow Tao gonna be throwing that straight up onto the air, straight back to his teammate. His teammate's gonna be trying to be looking for a possession. Could they get another point before the game? 4 seconds remaining. Oh, but throwing it at the last minute, Martinez. We're about to go see into an overtime. This could be anybody's win right here, as Chow Tao's gonna be rushing straight up to the goal. Find an opportunity, slamming into the goal with Big Max with a win.
I mean, that is beautiful. Let me see if I can get that replay on the board real quick here, as we're already going to be seeing round 1. Surprisingly, not surprisingly, but because it's IVNA, actually going the way of Big Backs there. So we'll be having to give Big Backs their first round win there. And I mean, talk about unexpected. Honestly, I was expecting this to go the way of Ivy. You know, maybe I'm a little favoring the team that is well known in the community here, but 3-2 was a tight game, right? I think IBNA even had the 2-1 lead for such a long time against Big Backs, but Big Backs were able to still make something happen there. And wow, there is not many breaks here, so we're going right in already to round 2. RetroCat, I thought we had a little bit longer, some breaks here.
I gotta say, that could have been IVI's warm-up round, and they could be warming up their muscles, getting ready for this brilliant round, as we're going to see the ball kick off right here. It's going to be a grand show, as we're going to see this any moment now. And the ball kicks off, going straight under tunnel right here, as they're going to try to be getting that possession, going straight up, as Mozzie's going to take it, going to be rushing it straight back down, going to be throwing it back to his teammate, as it's just going to go into the hands of Big Backs. The ball is just going to anybody's right now. They're going to be rushing it straight down to the field, going straight back, but it looks like they're just double committing into the air right now. Nobody can get this possession of the ball.
Yeah, it's still very much in play right now, but it's on the Ivy defensive side, which obviously is a little bit less favorable for them, as Yuki, though, playing it down. Donut hole, I guess we're playing it at this point. Yuki goes in for the 1v1, takes a shot there, and that is a beautiful one if I've seen one.
Looks like they are going to be trying to take the possession of the ball right here. Oh, boy.
Yeah, not quite favorable for Big Backs. It did get intercepted by the IVNA players. Mozzie taking that long shot there. It's going just a little too wide, but Styles there just for the follow-up, just in case it was going to work out there. And again, Mozzie, I mean, talk about Mozzie being a player on the ball. I've said that name so many times that they can keep getting that possession here, as Yuki almost taking a shot, but getting attacked by the defenders here. Yeah, it looks like RetroCat did pick that one up there, and we'll be subbing in for a second here. Sorry, RetroCat, I said your name wrong. Looks like Big Backs taking that shot there, being able to secure that one, as for the time of being IVNA, trying their best to fight back the attackers here from the Big Backs. Big Backs doing such a good job, honestly, against IVNA. Dare I say, this looks like this might be going the way of Big Backs. I mean, they get one more round, right? Big Backs has the advantage right now in terms of game series. So if they get one more, it's 2 out of 3 rounds, and they win out this series against IVNA, which honestly is a great start, I think, for the Big Backs players, as the defenders right now are doing such a good job at holding it back. But I will say this, it's almost a relentless defense right now, as they've been struggling to beat them down here. It looks like they again are just fighting for all-out mayhem, as they're trying to get their hand on the ball here, moving it down the arena. Yuki picking it up, moving it down, but it gets picked up again by these defenders. As I keep saying, these attackers have been relentless against this IVNA defense here. Sends it over to Yuki, gets actually read by Gith Yankee. Oh my goodness, and talk about a shot there by the big back players. And again, they're already up another point here. If they can keep this up for another 2 minutes, we might be seeing IVNA losing their first game here. And I'm hoping this is a warm-up here. And I will say, remember, this might be a different Ivy than we're used to seeing, because these are going to be the LAN teams here. That's a long shot there by the big backs players. I mean, they're on a roll right now, and I think it looks like the IVNA LAN team is struggling right now for this current game and series. We'll see if they can keep doing good later here. As that tackle, that pass goes over to Mozzie, goes right past their finger here, and get Yankees gonna be moving it down the arena, trying to keep it out of the defensive side here, but Lara is gonna be saying otherwise to that here, as they cannot keep ball possession at this point. But Chowtown there coming in for the save to see if they can pass it over, sends it deep in. A tall dude for the receiving end. Unfortunate reading though, but Chowtown still for the recovery. Can they take the shot there? They do. And that's Chowtown with another one in the pocket here. It's looking great right now for Big Bags. Dare I say they're running away with this. I feel like they're going to be winning out this round here, and potentially, you know, this, well, not potentially, this series if they do so.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm back now, and from what I'm seeing, Big Backs is 4-2 right here, so it is looking really great as they are at 50 seconds in the game right here. It is a 2-4 lead, so I think the IVI could step up their game right here, Martini. They're going to try to be taking possession straight back to the field as Laura takes that straight back up. Field is going back up to Styles. Styles take that possession as you're going to be throwing straight down to the court to Tall Dude to get the intercept. They're going to be throwing it back down. Could this be another third point? But oh, barely misses the goal.
Yeah, I will say, I think I did not notice earlier. I got to call it out. It looks like it's a 3v4 for the IB players. Am I counting this right? Double check me, Retro Cat. But if it is, then it's going to be just challenging because, you know, I will say it will impact their seeding, which, as I talked about earlier, will impact who they play first in the VRMLCon tournament there. And that's why this still matters here for the most part, because you want to make sure you have favorable seeding, right? Because again, if you're the top seeded team, you'll be playing against the lowest seeded team, and generally that's seen as a easy thing, right, going forward. Your Tall Dude gets the ball in hand, takes a shot there, and it does get in across Laura, and I think that's going to be it here. 5-2, and it looks like it's be going the series going to the Big Backs players here. I mean, talk about favorable start, talk about favorable win here for the Big Backs players. I mean, what did we see, you know, in round one there, and part of the, you know, later part of that in round two there, Retro?
You know, Big Backs coming in strong with their teammates. Gotta see, these players have that chemistry, and I cannot wait to see that chemistry at the con when they're like physically with each other. It's gonna be exciting to see. Just great geo passes, great like committing. They had that defensive play, and they're just racking up points just with the both games of IVI. It was close. It was close the first game going to 2-2 overtime, but they snuck in that little last minute goal. But this game, they just really crushed IVI. IVI did a really good job getting a couple more points on the board. Still great team with chemistry. But overall, that was just a brilliant match to see. Yeah,
definitely challenging to play, you know, a 3v4. You can only do so much, right? And I will say, remember, reminder to everyone here, it's not going to be the same teams that everyone's expecting when they hear these names, right? It's still IVNA, the organization. But remember, this is going to be IV's LAN team. It's going to be who can go in person and play this theoretically, right? So that might be a different lineup than they usually have or usually run. Maybe people aren't available or something like that, but it will impact them in terms of seeding because of how they play in these preliminaries here. So we'll see in a second, but we'll be waiting for the next set of rounds here. Hopefully it won't be like the Ignition or, you know, Pioneer Cup. It'll be a little bit faster because there's only, what, 8 teams, so it'll be a lot quicker in terms of the wind up here. But we'll be going to a really quick ad break. We'll be back in just a second. We'll see y'all pretty soon here. All right, welcome back. Hopefully that wasn't too long for y'all there. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the Tactical Nerds icon. I wasn't pulling it for some reason, but the next game we'll be showcasing here is going to be Rapid and Tactical Nerds. You know, looking at the previous game, looks like Rapid won against Vicious, 2-1. Tactical Nerds won against Nova, 2-0. So both of these teams are winning teams. Hopefully we see some great gameplay coming out from here. But I mean, what are we already seeing there, RetroCat? I know Ivy, we had seen them just lose in a previous matchup there, and I will say they are down a player. I will have to acknowledge that, but that's still going to impact their seeding, right?
From me knowing both of these teams, I think the 3 players from the other team, I think it will make a little bit of a difference, but not that much of a difference. From what I've seen, Plunge, Wizard Gecko, Jenu, they're just great players that I've seen from that team. And Rapids, they just have that communication, and I really think from what I've been seeing from their gameplay. So both teams are going to do incredible this round.
Yeah, we'll be going into round 1 here between Tactical Nerds and Rapid. Hopefully I got the right side here. But anyways, Tactical Nerds starting off to a great start. Their Plunge with the ball in hand already. Taking a shot there for the Nerds.
Plunge just plunging it down the field and getting that first goal here. Going to start that off as a 1-0. Know Your Mom's going to take that off. Going to be zooming like a rocket ship, going straight up onto the air like he doesn't care. He's rushing straight up to the goal. Is he going to pass it to Nodtop? Nodtop's going to take it, but with the interception right there from Juno, as he's going to go right back to Plunge. Plunge rushing it down sidewalk here. He's going to rush straight up to the goal. Could this be another point? They're just tackling for the ball right there in the intersection area.
Yeah, it looks like not able to get their hand on the ball. Not top able to get their hand on the ball. They're not getting a lot of no's on that team, it looks like. But it looks like a lot of back passing. Gets it over to the goalie. Unfortunately, can't get the deep pass there, as it does get spiked there by Plunge to keep it on the Rapid aside here. Plunge moving down the arena, sends it across to their teammate. John Newell sees it, takes a shot. Can't finish it though, and it does get defended perfectly by those Rapid players. And I mean, talk about beautiful gameplay coming out here from these players. Janu going in for the deep clear already, as Copyco moving it down as they pick it up with that interception.
Copyco taking possession of the ball as it just gets knocked out of his hand right there. Plunge taking it under sewers right now, rushing straight up to the goal, trying to take that shot. He does! Going in with another boom to the goal. 2-0 here. Not even with just 3 people, they're just doing incredibly here.
I know they're doing a good job right now. 2-0 already. Little Steven going for the pass there. No Yama's gonna be on the back end waiting for that pass. Goes in for the spike. Does take, not the spike, the shot. And Rapid finally getting a point on the board here against Tactical Nerds, as Tactical Nerds now having to respond in their own way here. Wizard Gecko moving down the arena already with the speed in hand as they went out for a beautiful rollout. Plunge coming down, looking for a potential passing option. Doesn't see anyone. Does get tackled, unfortunately, by those Rapid defenders.
Looks like they're going to be playing for the ball right here. Going to be passing that straight up onto Nessa. Juno takes it going straight up to the goal, trying to slam that down. Doesn't really work in their favor, as it's just fighting in this corner here for that possession. But no, your mom's going to boom it straight down to the field. It's going to be rolling. They're going to be trying to take possession, as Not Top takes it going straight into the air. He's going to be throwing it straight back down to his teammate here. Not really looking good here, as it's just going straight to Copyco. He's going to pass it back to Not Top. He's going to rush back to Little Steven. Little Steven's going to slam it into the goal, Martini.
Yeah, Rapid getting another point on the board here. Tactical Nerds now having to respond. I mean, 2-2. They got the equalizer. What are they going to do here? Wizard Gecko going for another rollout with No Yama on the back there, shadowing. I don't like queuing as a term, but Wizard Gecko goes in for a beautiful shot. Does go off the backboard, unfortunately, as the defenders are there to receive it.
Looks like they are going to go up here as No Your Mom takes possession of the ball. Going to be throwing that straight back to Nodtop. Nodtop is going to go straight back down, trying to take that possession. But Plunge, seeing the opportunity he does, takes the ball, is rushed straight to the goal. And just slamming it straight into the goal, just walking it in.
Yeah, I mean, Tactical Nerds, they're just responding so fast here. We're seeing Plunge. I mean, Plunge is the player I've seen time and time again be able to just really utilize that speed to their advantages. There's a beautiful tackle coming out there, but Copyco is going to be on the back end there to receive that and kind of tailgate their players as they're moving it down here. With Plunge again, able to get their ball on their hand on the ball there and keep that possession for the Tactical Nerds players as they keep just hammering this attack time and time again. Going for the reset now over to Wizard Gecko.
Wizard Gecko taking possession of the ball, going straight up on the nest, going to be throwing that back up. Knob Top's going to try to be securing the ball as Plunge gets it, trying to whack into the goal. Doesn't really quite make it. It's going to be thrown straight back down to Know Ya Mom. Know Ya Mom trying to find that opportunity, get the ball, gets swooped in by Knob Top, going straight back on the sidewalk here as Lil Steven picks it up. It's just going to get brawl here. Plunge really just putting that D in defense and just slapping it out of his hand.
Yeah, at this point, Rapid's going to be wanting to rush this one. Tactical Nerds are still up 1 goal here. That means they're going to be able to win round 1 if they can keep up this energy. 40 seconds counting down here. They're going to want to make some action. Rapid going for that deep pass to Noyama. They taking the 1v2. Does get tackled. They can't finish, but Copy Co on the back end there. And talk about Rapid. Rapidly trying to get the score in now. 30 seconds denying the win for the time being. We're going to be potentially going into some overtime territory here as Plunge goes in for this quick rollout.
Plunging it down into the field, taking possession of the ball, running straight up into the air. Is he going to take a shot? Passing it straight to Wizard Gecko, but just gets intercepted. Plunge tries to get to the ball as Lil Steven swoops in like here he is at the end. Know Your Mom's trying to take that possession, go back to Wizard Gecko. Wizard Gecko has the chance of putting it into the goal right there, but it just gets slapped from the defense. Looks like we are going to be going into some overtime territory as Not Top's going to try to be taking that possession, trying to throw it back to his teammate Noyama, but just gets slapped in. It's just back and forth. Is this going to be in? As it's just going to be plunged to Copy Co.
Copy Co picks that one up, sends it over to Not Top here. Not Top going in for that beautiful ceiling carve off the top here and trying to dance around a plunge. Takes a shot, not there for the follow-up. Lil Steven winning that one out for Rapid. And that is going to be a happy day for them there. It looks like Rapid can be winning out round 1 here in, again, this best of 3 series. They want to get 2 wins potentially in a row. Otherwise, maybe we'll go to a round 3 here. Let me fix those rounds there. It looks like it didn't quite fix it. What were the scores again for this one?
It was 4 Rapids, 3
Tactical Nerds?
4 Rapids, 3 yeah, the other
okay,
team.
cool. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't reset it correctly here, but it looks like, wow, yeah, no breaks. We're going round to round here, already round 2. I thought we'd have a little bit longer, you know, of a break in between these games here, but nope, we're running right into these pretty soon here. But what did we see in that previous round? That Rapid, you know, I thought they were going to be out for a bit. Tactical Nerds had a great start, but Rapid were able to rapidly, you know, ramp it up and did a really good job on that.
Let it rip.
I say the last game was what a game, because just the defense of both those teams were just remarkable, and just with having 3 players on the team and just keeping that just possession of the ball and getting those goals was just remarkable, Martini. As what we're going to see in this game is I think we're going to see a repeat of it's just going to be a close game, maybe into overtime here.
Yeah, I mean, that is an unfortunate situation from Rapid there. They had a beautiful, I honestly say, open goal there. They couldn't capitalize, though. A little bit too much pressure coming out from that Tactical Nerds defense here. As I think a lot more contention now in the midfield area as both teams have been struggling to really keep this attack on either side for the time being. But I will say Rapid has been just hammering this defense right now, getting, you know, at least goal attempt after goal attempt against Tactical Nerds, as Tactical Nerds have just been basically on a defense for the last minute here.
So they're going to be swooshing us down to the field right here. It's going to go right back to Know Your Mom. Know Your Mom's trying to get and take that possession as it goes to Wizard Gecko, throwing it back to Plunge, trying to get the opportunity, but Lil Steven just saving it back there. But there's somebody at that midfield point going to be bouncing that straight up to his teammate. Wizard Gecko takes this. Could it be another point? Going to be slamming that into the goal. Plunge takes it, but no, he gets tackled at the last moment. Wow, I gotta say, what a defense right there.
Yeah, beautiful.
What a good defensive.
Oh yeah, beautiful defense coming out there from Rapid as they've been able to prevent this attack from Tactical Nerds. As I said that, Tactical Nerds does pick up another one there. And that's going to be the first point on the board right now for the Nerds. I'm just going to shorthand the Nerds. It's kind of a long name there. But Rapid now trying to get this dribble. Plunge reads it though, does lose possession. I think the lag is really kicking their butt there. And they still get it in the goal. I mean, that is a funky play for sure.
I say that was like a slapping battle back there at the goal. Looks like No Your Mom's gonna try to gain that speed right here and try to get that. But well, the time went down. He just knocks it into the goal. What do we see there, Mark?
Yeah, I believe the timer's what, 15-20 seconds. So you can do your rollouts, but you gotta time it correctly. Otherwise, you got a player like Plunge who's shadowing you. It's gonna be a little bit unfortunate as the QP has to do something here, but it looks like Rapid already gonna be responding in form here. But again, they're down by 2 tactical nerds. Having to play against them, and I will say, you know, Rapid is up that 1 point there, so they can take the 1 hit, but they don't want to give Tactical Nerds a win. They want to finish it out on their term here, as Jim Newell is going to be able to get the ball in hand here, sends it across the Wizard Gecko on the backboard. One more pass over to Plunge here, and they just keep going pass after pass after pass here, and talk about chemistry.
Looks like they are going to be taking possession of the ball, trying to take that straight up into the air. Lil Steven going to be throwing it back to his teammate. Kind of a rebound pass to Copyco. Copyco is going to be taking possession, but it loses it. Lil Steven's going to be taking that right back up. He's going to be tackling right there. It's just going to be a tackle battle right there for possession. They're going to be flying that up in the air. Plunge takes it, throwing it, but nobody was there. Wait, no, Juno was there, and he had the ball. He's throwing back down the Plunge, and Plunge has the opportunity, but Wizards trying to get it in. But just can't find that opportunity on the goal.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too much contention there as Nata moving it down into the Tactical Nerds defensive side here. Little Steven, though, able to pick up some speed, trying to dance around Janul. Plunge, though, again on the back for the follow-up, sends it over the Donut. Just a little bit short, unfortunately, but Wizard Gecko can still read that as Plunge again coming back to receive that ball as they're both now fighting for it. And Nata now having to fight several defenders on their back here. And again, they are just, it's all out mayhem right now as both teams cannot really maintain this possession for too long.
Say Wizard takes possession of the ball, trying to seize that opportunity. We're at 1 minute remaining on the clock. Rapid needs to step up their speed, their game, if they want to get 2 points on the board. Say Lil Steven is going to be rushing straight up to the goal. Going to find that opportunity, but just that wicked save right there, bouncing off the goal. Trying for another save! Save after save! Juno's on top of this defense right now. Is not top taking it. Going to be rushing it straight, trying to throw it back in. But just Rapids just can't find this courage to just get it into the goal here.
Yeah, not looking great right now. Tactical Nerds might be able to finish this one up here. I mean, 3-1 is looking great right now. I think it's definitely mathematical time at this point. Little Steven trying to make some kind of movement here. Moves it down the arena, gets picked up by those defenders here. And, I mean, top ball Tactical Nerds basically just fighting for this ball as no one can keep their hands on it. Never mind Plunge. And Janul moving down the arena, picks it up in hand, trying to go for maybe one last play here as the timer's going to be counting down pretty soon.
Only 6 seconds left on the clock. It looks like it's going, this round could just be going to Tactical Nerds. The ball is going to be kept in the air. As soon as the ball hits the ground, it'll be game. And that is game. It is going to the Tactical Nerds. So tactical.
Tactical for sure. I mean, they were down, you know, game 1, 4-3. That was a tight matchup for them. A 3-1 now coming into the second round here. I mean, are we seeing any standout performances, you think, in that previous round? I mean, what were they doing differently? I will say it still was close round 1. Like it wasn't. It went to overtime, right?
I gotta say, from what I've seen from the last game, that I think that the Tactical Nerds had that advantage, but I think Rapids did slip up. Like that one thing where they're like the time was the essence. I really think that they just slipped up 2 times. I think Rapid as a team, I think they could take it back in the final round here. But I think just, I'm not going to say this, but I think that maybe Tactical Nerds did get a little lucky that round, Martini. Just a little lucky.
Yeah, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they are playing a 3v4 for Tactical Nerds, right? If I'm reading the right players here. So the fact that they're doing so well with just 3 showcases how good of a team they're doing playing right now. But anyways, Nata moving down here, takes the potential passing option. No, they go for the dribble, it gets around, but it can't quite get past that goalie there. Plunge there with the fast speed off the top as Little Steven trying to keep the ball in play right now, but there's several Tactical Nerds defenders on the back there. Janul sending it forward over to Plunge to receive that. Plunge able to get that in hand, but Nata is going to be there defending it as now they're going to have to dance around. Not 1, but 2, but 3 different players there, but it doesn't matter. Tactical Nerds deciding, hey, I'm going to play this one out here, and they actually play that through and get the goal.
And a little shout out here to Juno with just epic goal saves from this round and the other round here. It's just incredible defense from what I've seen from any team so far in Orion Drift. And it's just incredible what these teams can do. As it looks like Wizard Gecko is going to be trying to throw that straight back down to the goal. But Plunge did the opportunity. Just tactical nerds. Just having those opportunities with 2 points onto the board, Martin.
Yeah, Tactical Nerds are just picking this up. Now they're speeding this one up. I mean, you know, if anyone should be named Rapid at this point, I think it's the Tactical Nerds as they're rapidly getting these goals back to back here. They're trying to get a shot in from Rapid, but it's not quite working out in their favor. Copy Co gonna be on the back end there. I'm thinking like Cody Co. That's what I'm trying to say it that way. But Copy Co on the back end there, not quite landing things. It's not top trying to keep that possession very much in play for the Rapid player. Gets sent over to Noyama. Gets a little bit deep though, as that pass wasn't quite a perfect one here. But Little Steven had to fight two defenders off of their back and still able to get possession and send it over to their teammate. But looks like those defenders are quick on that follow-up.
Looks like Wizard Gecko having the possession, trying to throw that in. They're going to be rushing straight into the goal, trying to throw that back into the goal. Didn't really get that opportunity as Not Top is going to take possession. Going to do a wicked ceiling carve onto the ceiling here. Going to lose possession of the ball, but that was just going back to Plunge, and Plunge is going to front into the goal. He's like, I saw the ball, I'm going to catch it, and I'm just going to put it in. Just like that.
Yeah, I mean, Plunge has been definitely a player that's consistently performing for these Tactical Nerds here, as Kopiko now moving down off the QB, sends it over to Not Top here. They just almost lose the possession of the ball, but still able to keep it in hand here. And this is, you know, talk about beautiful passing play. They're almost finishing, but Wizard Gecko being that wall on that goalie there, and they weren't able to unfortunately get that in here. But Not Top still there for the receiving end, able to keep the ball on their side for the time being. But Plunge is just fighting for this possession at this point, but still very much in play for the Rapid players here.
Not Top just putting a point onto the board right here, 1-3, as they're just, as Wizard is going to be taking possession. He's going to wait for Plunge to gain that speed, gaining that speed, going supersonic speed, going to go right down to the floor, gonna be rushing it straight, trying to pass it to his teammate right there. Going back to Plunge with the speed he has, but it's going back to Lil Steven. Lil Steven's gonna try to get that opportunity to go back. Looks like Juno's taking that possession, go straight up. It is currently a 1v1. Never mind 2v2. All the teams there are gonna be throwing back down, trying to look for an opportunity, but just can't really fit the ball into the goal. Gonna throw it back over to the other side.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out. They had like, what, 1, 2, I think, shots, maybe even 3 opportunities. Didn't quite work out. Plunge, though, on the receiving end, just missing. And that chemistry, you know, it's there, but just not quite. You know, there's a, you know, we'll see. There's a big difference between great chemistry and perfect or, you know, standout chemistry, right? We've seen some of the top tier teams like Ignite have that connection where it's just, wow, every single, you know, pass almost makes it in every single time here. Wizard Gecko, the playing off a Halo, gets hit off of the geometry there, and they almost had a perfect play there.
Looks like Not Top is trying to take that as Plunge does plunge the ball down to the field. Going to be rushing straight up to the goal. Will he put another point onto the board? And he does, like a champ, putting another point onto the board. Going 4-1 here. House Rapids going to secure enough points. There is 40 seconds remaining on the clock. They might have time to get at least 3 points onto the board, maybe 2, as No Your Mom is going to throw that back down to the field. Doesn't really work in their favor right here.
Yeah, remember, this is best of 3. This is the final tiebreaker round. Both teams have already won, so they're both fighting to keep their place, you know, seeding in this competition for the time being. But, I mean, Tactical Nerds up 4-1. They definitely have a huge advantage here, and I think we're way past mathematical time as 20 seconds are counting down left on the clock here. Plunge and Jonul, though, maybe they will go in for one last play here. Plunge off at the top here, and they go in for the shot. They don't, they do make it in the end. Tactical Nerds with another one on the board there. I'm just gonna never mind, that was the wrong play there. I put the wrong replay on the screen there, but you know, I think I just pulled it up if I possibly can. But hey, I think we know who the winners are gonna be in this series here. Tactical Nerds winning this one out 2-1 against Rapid.
Wow, Martini, 3 players, 3 against 4. That was just an incredible round. Just from what I'm seeing, I gotta say, Plunge, just incredible just offensive play there from what I'm seeing. You had that speed, you had that passing chemistry. I just love it. Chef's kiss, Juno. You just had that great just defensive play. A lot of goal saves right there. You guys really worked well as a team, and just that third player just in the mix right there, just helping out the offensive players. 2 offensive players, one defensive players. That might be all you need, really.
Yeah, I mean, they played so well, I think, considering they were down a whole player, right? At first, I thought it might have been chalk like we saw in the previous game. IVNA played a good game, but they still struggled to really win with those 3 players. And that wasn't quite the case we saw here, right? We saw them go into overtime round 1. We saw them win round 2. Then we saw them finish it out in that tiebreaker on that round 3 here. I mean, still a great effort, I believe, by the Rapid players, but Tactical Nerds able to just fight this one out. And I will say, it's not like they're not a good team. I think I saw someone in chat said it might have been, it's not Vicious, it's the Valiance players, the ones that are going to LAN, right? So they made another team for the LAN team here. And obviously they're, with 3 players, are looking great. They did a good job on what they've done here, but hopefully we can see something come up, you know, in the next coming matches here. But hey, that is game 2 here. We'll be going into an upcoming game 3 pretty soon here, but I'll be sending us off to a very hopefully short ad break. We'll be coming back pretty soon here, and I think I think this is the last team here, so we'll be going pretty hot into round 3 pretty soon here, but we'll be back in just a bit.
VR Master League and Another Axiom are proud to introduce the Phoenix Driftball Invitational, Orion Drift's first ever on-stage tournament at VRMLCON 2025. For those attending the event, gather your team and enter for a chance to play on stage and compete for the $5,000 grand prize.
The format is simple. Phase 1 is an online open qualifier bracket where every team that enters will battle it out for a top seed. The top 16 teams from the qualifier will earn their spot on stage and move forward to compete at VRMLCon on July 27th.
The competition truly begins with the Phoenix phase, a single elimination bracket played in person across 2 different stages throughout the day. It all culminates in the Driftball Grand Finals, the closing act of the event, where only one champion can be crowned.
Want to throw your hat in the ring? Use the VRML Discords to find a team of fellow attendees and sign up using the form in the server. Just remember, all players must have tickets and be attending the event to sign up. Online players will not be eligible for the Phoenix stage.
VRMLCon 2025 is shaping up to be the event of a lifetime. Don't miss your chance for an unforgettable VR experience. Get your tickets and sign up for the Phoenix Invitational today.
Prepare to start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody
Go.
Spot in the bottom going absolutely.
All right, here we go into a game 3. I think you might recognize one of these team names here. I mean, probably both, but it's gonna be Big Bags and Vicious getting started pretty soon here. We'll be pulling into game 3 between these two teams. I mean, you know, we've seen Big Bags perform well. We've seen Vicious play well themselves here, as we're getting right off to the races here between these two teams.
Gotta say, this is gonna be a well and swell game as you're gonna Sweet Tooth's gonna pass it off right to his teammate right there. They're gonna get tackled by Tall Dude trying to take possession of the ball as Matthew's gonna take that straight up to Wolfie's. Wolfie's trying to take that possession. It's going back to Sweet Tooth, but just gets knocked over by the other team. It's gonna be throwing it straight back onto the ground, going back to Matthews. Is gonna be rushing straight up to the goal, throwing it right back onto that clock part of the map. As they're going to try to get that, they're going to be throwing it straight back to midfield. Wolfie's going to be taking possession of the ball overall, trying to get that pass.
Yeah, Wolfie trying to move it down into the Big Bags, attacking side here, sends it deep, gets stuck in the sewers though, but Sweet Tooth can be there defending that. Batila following up on top of that, and Gith Yankee there, and it looks like Chowtown actually coming in themselves finally through the back. You're keeping that speed going down. But Matthew's going to be going in for the tackle here, preventing them from moving any forward. And talk about a beautiful leech. I don't think Chowtown was expecting that leech there from Matthew.
We found in the Parkour district has
Say Martina, I think this game is going to be like a very high competitive game here. I think both teams are going to defend their goals really, really well, and it might even go into a 0-0 overtime. Maybe, just maybe. But I think from what we've seen from both of these teams, I think both of them play just incredibly well chemistry-wise, and just how they play overall.
Yeah, we've seen great connections, you know, with these passes, and to me that showcases how well both teams are performing. Matthew taking a long shot there, a little too wide though, as Tall Dude goes in for that beautiful clear, but Sweet Tooth is going to be able to be there for the cleanup, coming in for maybe another potential shot here. Takes a spike there, and that's going to be a shot already coming in from Vicious, and it took about almost 2 minutes before we saw our first goal here.
Vicious being vicious and putting the first point onto the board, going back to Chowtown right here. He's going to take possession of the ball. This is going to get swooped away right here. Going to be throwing it straight back up to midfield, straight back up to his teammate. Going to be throwing it back up to Tall Dude right here. As Tall Dude takes it back to his teammate. Going back to Thud down here. As Thud throws it back up. Just a nice little passing play right here. Not too complicated. Just great passes. Thud takes that possession up. It could be anybody's right now as they're going to be rushing it straight under Sewer. Going straight back up onto the air. Sweet Tooth's going to be knocking it over. Could this be another goal? As it's open, it's Tooth with an epic long shot into the goal. Going 2-2 to Vicious.
2-0 right now for Vicious. I mean, beautiful long shot. Talk about having the vision, right, to really see that, one, the goal is wide open, and two, the ability to take that shot and make it actually count there. Because we've seen a lot of teams going for long shots, but they keep going a little too wide there. It looks like Chowtown already responding to Vicious. I mean, that was, what, a 10-20 second goal already. So Vicious is going to be definitely having to fight to keep this goal line here. Matthew getting for this rollout, moving down, takes the pass over to Decipher Omen on the back end there. Oh, it just goes a little too wide though, unfortunately, and they unfortunately falls out of their hand here. Chowtown playing off of the backboard, sends it deep into for that clear. That is a very favorable bounce, I would say, as Decipher Omen does clean that up for the Vicious players.
Going back to the big backside as they're going to be throwing it straight up onto the area right here as Wolves and Sweet Tooth's going to be rushing straight up to the ball, going straight up in the air. Sweet Tooth has it, going to go right onto the halo point, going to be rushing straight up to the goal. Could this be in, or is he going to pass up to his teammate? He's going to get knocked over by Tall Dude as Chowtown is going to take it, going to the Vicious side right here as he's going to be rushing straight. Could this be a goal for them as they're going to be throwing it in, but just gets tackled at that last moment, going back to Matthew.
Yeah, I saw a very interesting play by the goalie that they were hiding inside the goalie net, and I think they're trying to bait them basically into an early shot. I feel like that's kind of a big risk-reward situation there, because what if they take a very wide shot that you can't respond to, you know, in a time there? Matthew going in for that deep pass. Gith Yankee though on the back, and they're able to receive that. Tries to go in for the shot here, does get tackled by two different defenders, and it looks like Vicious is keeping the ball out of the goalie net for the time being.
So he's going back to Chowtown, catching the pass, trying to go for a mid pass right here as they're going to be taking that. But the defensive Sweet Tooth right here is going to be throwing it back to Wolfie, straight back for that pass. He's throwing it straight back to the team, to his teammate. It is open. So, it's a 1v1. So if they want to get that possession, but overall the team does get back in time to get that back ball back as they're going to be throwing it straight back down to the teal, going back to Wolfie. Wolfie's going to throw it back down into Sewers. It's just going to be a brawl under there.
Yeah, all out mayhem here. Get Yankee though finally getting the ball in hand. They might be able to get something to happen here. Wolfie barely getting the ball past their hand, but Sweet Tooth able to follow up and keep that ball on their possession. And Matthew with the follow-up off of that beautiful regrab, going in for maybe the last play we're going to be seeing in this first game here. And it looks like Chowtown having to keep ball possession out to prevent Vicious from winning game 1 here. Moving down the arena here, and talk about beautifully played, but the defender unfortunately shuts that one down, and that's going to be a first round on the board right here for the Vicious players. And I mean, talk about close gameplay. You talk about how you think this might be a competitive game, and you're definitely right. 2-1 for this game. For a minute, I think you were right. I could have seen a 0-0 overtime for a quick second there, because it was 2 minutes, I believe, without really anyone scoring.
Yeah, Vicious really just showed them who's the boss here that game, as just conquering the points on defense and offense. But I really think from big backside, I really think that they can step it up next game and get that up their defense and up their offense. Just great plays overall from Tall Dude, catching those intercepting passes, and Sweet Tooth being the MVP of offense that game. Just remarkable game, and I cannot see what they can do in the next one. Can't wait to see it.
I mean, here we go, coming into round 2 here. Vicious already up 1 round. They got to do something to really secure the win for this series. Otherwise, I'm curious to see if Big Bags can fight back and maybe get around themselves, and we'll potentially see a round 3 tiebreaker. You know me, I'm a big sucker for a round 3 tiebreaker. Nothing excites me more than seeing the teams fight it out all the way to the last round here. T-Lo, though, receiving the ball, can't keep it in hand to Cypher. Open, going in for the deep clear here. I don't think anyone there on the receiving end. Sweet Tooth for the follow-up here, looking for that shot. Matthew with the follow-up there, and that's going to be another round, another goal in the pocket for Vicious. I'm mixing up my games right now, sorry. But it looks like Big Bag's coming off the rollout here.
Play kicks off.
They thought it was going to be trying out that to Chowtown. Chowtown's going to pass it up to Tall Dude, trying to get that possession, trying to look for a pass, but just gets tackled by the defense of Vicious. Wolfie takes possession of the ball, going straight up on the table right here. Going to be throwing it straight to his teammate, but gets intercepted by Tall Dude. He'll throw it back to his teammate, but nobody's there at the moment, as somebody was currently pressuring him. Thug tries to take this, as Sweet Tooth's going to swoop in right there, going to grab those boosts. The goal is currently open for them, so they can take a shot maybe onto the goal, but just gets tackle at the moment, trying to get that interception on the pass. Looks like they're going to be booming it straight back down, but Wolfie was just there in time to save that shot. Is just going to go right back to the side, big backside.
Yeah, they are just fighting for possession at this point. No team really able to keep and maintain it. Taldu takes a shot there on a dare I say, a covered goal, so I'm not sure if I would have gone for that, as Chowdown gets tackled there again, and both teams really are just not able to really have anything happen here. Tall Dudes with the follow-up, actually, and that's going to be a first point on the board right now for the Big Backs players here.
Neck and neck right now, 1-1. Let's see how far this goes, as Matthew takes this into the air right now, as he's going to take that possession. Going to be knocked down as Chowtow's going to take possession. Going to be rushed straight to the goal. Going super fast. Going to throw that in. It is open, but oh, hits the rim right there. Ooh, that's got to hurt. As Sweet Tooth's going to be taking that straight up into the air, trying to get that pass to Wolfie. Got to see that coordination on passing right there. They know where to go. As Sweet Tooth is going to rush straight back down to the field to get to the ball again. Looking for that opportunity. The pass right here is going to be waiting a little bit, but throwing it out. But Tall Dude's going to tackle the third. The defense is crazy.
Yeah, defense has been doing great right now. This is probably one of the second longest, stretch of time we have with these two teams where no one has scored here. They're just going back and forth. And this is one of those moments where you've got to really utilize your possession and maximize it, because at this point you can see that no one's really scoring here. Tall Dude receiving the ball there, but again, tackled by Matthew. Chowtown can't follow that one up here as Matthew goes for that deep clear right across sewer area, but Sweet Tooth is going to be able to take this 1v1. Goes in off the top there. That's a beautiful shot there coming out from Vicious.
Sweet Tooth really seeing the opportunity right there and grabbing the ball and just slamming into the goal. Chef's kiss of a goal. Bud does take that possession, going to be throwing that right back up to his teammates. Going to go straight up onto the clock area. Nobody's there to catch it as it's going to the Vicious side. As Sweet Tooth always having the ball here. Got to say, Sweet Tooth being the king of defense on the Vicious side here, as Matthews is going to be taking that straight up onto the air right now. Could be anybody's ball. Going back to trying to slam that into the goal. Doesn't really have that opportunity. They're all just pressing for the ball. All triple committing and double committing for that ball.
Yeah, that is not quite working out here. Everyone's just fighting for possession in this corner right now, and it looks like we finally got a winner from here. Big backs, tall dude keeps getting tackled, and that's the thing. These passes are connecting, but that vicious defense. I mean, you know, dare I say use a name, but a vicious defense indeed, as they've just been basically on the backs of every single big backs player here. Can time after time after time again chow down, preventing that long shot from happening. Takes their own long shot in response here, and you know, if that had been a little bit more to the left, that would have been in. Unfortunately, wasn't though. Wolfie able to keep the ball in hand here. Just falling a little bit though, as they cannot keep possession for the time being, and they are just fighting for it right now against the big backs attackers. But it's okay, as Vicious has possession at this point. And again, Vicious is up 1. There's 50 seconds left on the clock here. We're gonna have to see big backs respond soon here.
I have to say, Martini, time is of the essence as we are going in at 30 seconds. Can big backs get another point in so they can make this into overtime, or will Vicious just take the W overall? But nice wicked save right there, almost going into the goal from a long shot, as Matthew's going to take that possession. Say Caldu's going to try to push up onto him, going straight up on the Wolfie right here, as he's going to throw that back to his teammate. It's currently a 1v1, but no, he gets knocked out the defense. This game is not over yet. 10 seconds almost remaining on the clock. Can they get one more point? Caldu takes that possession. They're going to be throwing that down. They're going to be playing this into the air. If the ball technically touches the ground, the game will be over. They're rushing straight to the goal. Can this be in? Throwing it straight up into the air. It is 0. Can they get another point? We're going to have to see here, Martini.
Oh no, and it just slips out of their fingers there, and Vicious gonna win that one out here. I mean, talk about close game. Talk about, I was on the edge of my seat until the very end there. I didn't know who's going to win that one out. I was just hoping big backs to get the one last one, forcing overtime here, but unfortunately that didn't quite happen. It's Vicious winning out 2-1 and 2-1, funny enough, for both rounds here. But that was honestly one of those closer rounds I think we've seen the last couple of games here, as it was beautifully played. I mean, was there any standout plays that you've seen from big backs or Vicious?
I gotta say, Sweet Tooth, just incredible, like, offense, man. Like, from what we're seeing, Sweet Tooth mostly had the possession of the ball almost throughout both of those games, and he was not kind of soloing, but he was passing to his teammates correctly, but he was just there in time to score most of those points. But from the other team, Showtown and Tall Dude, gotta say they really clutched up on their defense. As you guys saw from that last game, they did take a long shot there, but somebody was in there in time. I think it was Tall Dude, the swoop in on like a save right there. Gotta say, from the big back side, they had that beautiful defense, and it was really close for both rounds. And I gotta say, both teams did really incredible, but Vicious was very vicious, and big backs was very big backs.
I mean, yeah, definitely great gameplay from both, but obviously, of course, Vicious came out a winner in the end here. So we'll be going on to game 4, I believe. So we'll be coming back pretty soon here. Hopefully not too long, because again, these are, you know, I feel like it's been pretty quick, back to back to back. You know, we're about an hour into the cast. We've already seen 3 games, so we'll be seeing another 2 pretty soon here. But unfortunately, we got to go to ad breaks. We'll see y'all in just a bit.
VR Master League and Another Axiom are proud to introduce the Phoenix Driftball Invitational, Orion Drift's first ever on-stage tournament at VRMLCon 2025. For those attending the event, gather your team and enter for a chance to play on stage and compete for the $5,000 grand prize.
The format is simple. Phase 1 is an online open qualifier bracket where every team that enters will battle it out for a top seed. The top 16 teams from the qualifier will earn their spot on stage and move forward to compete at VRMLCon on July 27th.
The competition truly begins with the Phoenix phase, a single elimination bracket played in person across 2 different stages throughout the day. It all culminates in the Driftball Grand Finals, the closing act of the event, where only one champion can be crowned.
Want to throw your hat in the ring? Use the VRML Discords to find a team of fellow attendees and sign up using the form in the server. Just remember, all players must have tickets and be attending the event to sign up. Online players will not be eligible for the Phoenix stage.
VRMLCon 2025 is shaping up to be the event of a lifetime. Don't miss your chance for an unforgettable VR experience. Get your tickets and sign up for the Phoenix Invitational today. VR Master League and Another Axiom are proud to introduce the Phoenix Driftball Invitational, Orion Drift's first ever on-stage tournament at VRMLCON 2025. For those attending the event, gather your team and enter for a chance to play on stage and compete for the $5,000 grand prize.
The format is simple. Phase 1 is an online open qualifier bracket where every team that enters will battle it out for a top seed. The top 16 teams from the qualifier will earn their spot on stage and move forward to compete at VRMLCon on July 27th.
The competition truly begins with the Phoenix phase, a single elimination bracket played in person across 2 different stages throughout the day. It all culminates in the Driftball Grand Finals, the closing act of the event, where only one champion can be crowned.
Want to throw your hat in the ring? Use the VRML Discords to find a team of fellow attendees and sign up using the form in the server. Just remember, all players must have tickets and be attending the event to sign up. Online players will not be eligible for the Phoenix stage.
VRMLCon 2025 is shaping up to be the event of a lifetime. Don't miss your chance for an unforgettable VR experience. Get your tickets and sign up for the Phoenix Invitational today.
All right, welcome back. Here we're gonna have Tactical Nerds on the purple side, Vicious coming in here on the right side here on blue. I mean, we've seen Vicious play, we've seen Tactical Nerds play. I think Tactical Nerds might still be down their 3 players. Yeah, they're still down, so they'll be playing this 3-4 for the time being here, and Vicious themselves will be playing a pretty good game. All 4 players are in though. How do you feel about this?
I think they could pull this off again with 3 players, the 3 Musketeers, I have to say. But I think this is just going to be a brilliant match overall. As we saw Vicious win the last game overall. Just incredible defense and offense from both teams. I cannot wait to see it in this brilliant match. And talk about brilliant plunging the first point, Martin.
Yeah, I mean, one already on the board here for the Tactical Nerds players. They're sending it deep over to Decipher Omen. Going for the back pass there. Vicious, though, can't finish that, unfortunately, but it's still in play right now for Tactical Nerds as they are fighting for that possession right now. Ball moving forward here. Sweet Tooth trying to follow up pretty soon here. Does move it down. Plunge. Barely missing. That's a wide open shot here. Can they take it? They can. That's me. Vicious winning another one on the board. Sorry. Yeah, Vicious on the board finally against Tactical Nerds.
It's like they are going to be gaining that speed as Wizard Gecko is going to be swooping in for the ball and jumping straight. Playing ground right here. Going to be rushing straight up. Going to be passing it to his teammate. Teammate jumps down. Could this be another goal? And it is! Slamming into the goal. Nice little pass play right there, and just a nice opening in general. Cannot wait to see what Sweet Tooth has to say about this.
I mean, talk about fast shots, right? It's like shot after shot after shot already. Vicious, what is this? They're basically trading goal for goal for goal at this point. I mean, these teams cannot keep the ball out of the goal right now.
I think both teams really need to step up on their defense a little bit. I think Plunge does take possession of the ball right here as he's going to be knocked out of his hand by Sweet Tooth. Plunge taking it back. Sweet Tooth taking it back up into the air as he's going to overall get that possession. As Plunge takes possession back, but somebody's on his back right now. As if you guys are watching this, as Sweet Tooth is going to take that right back up onto the air, going straight up onto the halo point right there. Going to be trying to look for a pass or trying to solo it. Going to be throwing it to his teammate Matthew, back to his other teammate. Could be slamming it back into the goal, but no, just a sheer defense. Really stepping up their defensive play here.
Yeah, no, Vicious looking great right now. That beautiful back pass. And I got to say, so much credit to the Tactical Nerds players playing, again, 3 players. I got to remind everyone, they're playing 3 players right now. And this is how good they're playing. So I can't imagine their full 4 stack here. Plunge with a beautiful finish there. I mean, they are just, you know, dare I say vicious, even though they're the nerds here.
Looks like Matthew is going to be taking possession of the ball right here. And he jumping straight up into the area onto bridge. Going to be throwing it to his teammate Bajuno right here at the last moment, getting possession of the ball, being the MVP of defensive plunge, taking it back and just walking it in again. Just wow, goal after goal for Tactical Nerds here.
Yeah, I was expecting a little bit differently. You know, I saw Vicious play so well in that previous matchup here. Tactical Nerds, though, I mean, again, playing so well with 3 players. It's kind of jarring, you know, dare I say. But Wizard Gecko, look at these jukes getting around every single player. Plunge finishing that one up here. Tactical Nerds, another point on the board. I mean, what is going on here? They're just straight up cooking with these dribbles and these jukes.
I gotta say, they're smooth with it. Look at Plunge right here. Going in, maybe rushing straight back on, but Sweet Tooth having enough of it, gaining that speed, saying, I have enough, and I want to put a point onto the board here. As Juno is going to be taking possession, as they're going to be gaining speed. Plunge taking it back. Is he going to get another point onto the board? We're going to have to see. Gaining that speed, going to get back up, as it looks like he's going to be taking possession, going to be throwing back down with an open pass. Could this be in? Is anybody down there? Sweet Tooth is getting another point. Is 5-4 Martini, and they're going to see Vicious is coming right back up.
You know, I mean, they are looking vicious for now, as they are now finally ramping up. 1-2 goals right in a row there. Matthew with a follow-up. No, never mind. That tackle is not going to be working out in their favor. Sweet Tooth. Talk about the jukes around the players there, but Janu going to be on the back end, ready to receive that ball and move it down the arena once more here, looking for that cross pass. Potentially, they go for the almost a beautiful ceiling carve off of the nest area there, and Sweet Tooth now having to fight against Plunge here, and Wizard Gecko goes in for that deep clear, keeping it out of play for now, as Sweet Tooth having to go for a potential reset to themselves, but does get read by the Tactical Nerds here. Time is counting down, 30 seconds left. We're gonna have to see Vicious go to score in here, otherwise round 1 might be going away of Tactical Nerds.
Sweet Tooth is taking it up into the air right now, trying to boom it straight down to the field. Could be anybody's goal. Is going back to Wolfie, but Plunge is having enough as he takes possession of the ball, rushing straight back down here. As he's going to be rushing straight, going to be throwing back to his teammate right here, and just tackling at this area right now. 2 seconds. This could just, as the ball hits the ground, that will be it for the game. It looks like they are trying to keep it in the air, and it slams down. And that game was incredible, Martin.
To all our fans from the bus.
Yeah, going away of Tactical Nerds here, 5-4. I mean, what can you say? What can you say? A team playing with 3 players here, still doing a great game, putting up an amazing game against, especially a team like Vicious, right? 5-4 against Vicious with a player down. That's how good they are. But when you see those jukes, that's exactly what I expect, though. We saw Tactical Nerds, I think not 1, but 2 different players have great, dribbling and juking ability, and they definitely use it here.
Yeah, I really think they have for Tactical Nerds. I really think they have that good team lineup, and that's how they're kind of succeeding at this 3v4 level. As somebody staying in the back right there, like how an actual 3v3 would work. Somebody out in the back playing defensive play and 2 an offensive play. I really think it is working in their favors. For Vicious, they did really spike up and come back that game. So I think this game could be really, really, really close.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Ball in play. Plunge already getting the hand on it, moving it down, but it does get picked up by those Vicious players. I think they're looking a little more warm here, but Junul going in, takes a shot. And I mean, Tactical Nerds off the rip, already up 1.
First point onto the board, and Sweet Tooth's going to be taking that possession, going to be rushing down on the sidewalk here. Me taking it up into the air, going straight up, rushing straight up to the goal like a rocket ship. Will he be slamming it in like a basketball hoop and slam to the goal?
I love these 2 teams. Like, the amount of goals they score in such a short amount of time is kind of insane. Like, it just moves so fast. It's kind of crazy. And you're right, maybe it's a defensive problem right now, where both these teams are just not able to hold that possession for too long.
Looks like they are going to be throwing it straight up onto the air as Plunge is going to try to take that possession. Going to be throwing it back down onto the Vicious side. Looks like it's going back to Wolfie, throwing back down to his teammate right there. Going to be throwing it back to Wolfie, but it's going straight under to the play right here. Could be anybody. Sweet Tooth's going to try to throw that into the ball. Sweet Tooth takes it back. Be throwing that back up in the air as the ball is in scrambles right now as Wolfie takes possession, throwing it back. But Matthews going in, trying to swoop it down, trying to do a ceiling carve, going to backhand throw to Ice, but Juno's right there being the king of defense, defending the ball, is plunging it down to the field, saying nope.
Yeah, Wolfie moving it down. Gets read by Plunge, though, as they are going to be moving down the arena, looking for potential passing options. Might be able to take it themselves here. They see Janul in the air. They take the shot. I mean, that is chemistry if I've seen it.
Also, talk about like how they shot that, like throwing it up into the air and just booming it into the goal. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was looking. It looked like volleyball, like kind of a setter to a spike. You know, that was. Oh, his Matthew fights against that one, but two different defenders here. Just they could not keep the goal, unfortunately, from happening and conceding that here. But where is the Tactical Nerds player? Okay, I was like, where are they at? Wizard Gecko finally going for the rollout here.
Looks like Sweet Tooth is going to sweet it back. Going to be throwing it straight into the goal, and it's open. Just bouncing off there. Just an open goal. I would have somebody in that back line right there just waiting, but it looks like they're going to be trying to gain speed right here as Plunge takes possession of the ball. Going to be rushing straight under. But jump right there and catching the ball. Pretty impressive. I was going straight under as Juno does take that back. Is he going to go for another goal? Throwing it back. Wolfie is going in, but throwing it back is just going back and forth here, Martini.
Yeah, going back and forth here. Janul playing off a Donut, moving it down, playing off a Ness here, looking for that opening. Oh, Plunge takes a beautiful goalie tackle there. And again, that's working with your teammates. Looks like we got that equalizer now against Vicious here. So both teams again fighting to keep the ball here. Sweet Tooth coming down fast. They see Wolfie out the back. No, they decide to play it, and Vicious dunks it right on their face.
I gotta say, this is a really close game. They are just trading goals here. Plunge taking possession of the ball, gaining speed, doing his speed tactics, jumping up. Is he gonna pass it to his teammate? He's gonna pass it to Wizard Gecko, trying to get in for that pass. Doesn't really succeed there. As Matthews gonna try to get that up into the air, trying to boom it down as he's gonna ceiling carve onto there. Waiting for that opportunity, waiting a little bit, trying to find that opportunity, passing it to Sweet Tooth. And they're going to be thrusting it straight to his team or trying to go for the shot, and he does. Going 5-3 here. I gotta say, Tactical Nerds need to really step up their game.
Yeah, they got to step it up right here. They are still up 1, so we might be seeing a round 3 tiebreaker. Oh, Plunge gets a weird, crazy juke there. I mean, look, there's 2 defenders on that goalie, and they were able to still shoot right past them here.
I say Sweet Tooth is taking that possession of the ball. The Plunge just saying, I just want to battle you. They're just battling for possession right there. They're going to be throwing it straight down. Juno's going to be trying to take that possession and be taking that up to the air, looking for a pass right here. Going back out, jumping off the ceiling. Look at that play, Martini. He just jumped off the ceiling, went down, and just swished into the goal like a rocket.
Yeah, Tactical Nerds not out of the game here. Now both teams fighting for potential overtime, fighting for a potential round win here. Sweet Tooth coming in hot and fast, and talk about hot and ready as they got a shot on the board there. It's looking like a Little Caesar's pizza right now.
Plunge taking possession of the ball, digging it here, could be taking that back as Sweet Tooth takes it up into the air. It is 6-5 right now with 20 seconds on remaining. Could this be a long shot? And it is! Oh, and it bounces out of the goal! Wolfie takes possession of the ball. He'll be throwing it back, but Juno's going to be taking it back. Could this be it for the game? Could they get another point? Rushing it straight to the goal. Could this be 6-6? He's throwing it down, going to 6-6 overtime, Martini!
I mean, beauty. Talk about a beautiful finish. We're going in overtime at this point. 6-6 right now between Vicious and a Tactical Nerd. Sweet Tooth moving down the arena, playing off the Nest, goes over the pass over to Decipher. Decipher takes a shot, gets beautifully covered there by Janul, and looks like we'll be fighting it out here in the sewers as Sweet Tooth on the back end. They're trying to take the shot from Plunge. They do! Wolfie gets a beautiful defense, sends it back over to the Tactical Nerds.
Is on the Tactical Nerd side. Juno is taking that possession up. It is currently open right now, but he loses possession. Matthew takes it back, throwing it to the other side here as they're trying to rush back. Wizard Gecko tries to take possession of the ball, takes it straight up onto the air right here. Going to be throwing back to his teammate. going back to Plunge, going back up to his teammate right there. Nobody to catch it, but it looks like Wizard Gecko there to catch it. Could this be the end of the game? Plunge going back down with like almost the goal, but Sweet Tooth just throwing it back, just back and forth. This is the teeth-chattering game, Martini.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be fighting for this one here. I wish we had an overtime clock. It looks like I see it in game, though. 1 minute on the clock, overtime already, as they're still fighting for this win here. Plunge getting the jukes around, plays it off of Ness here in the 1v1. Can they score? They can. And that's going to be another on the board for Tactical Nerds. And, of course, a win to round that one out here. And, again, best of 3. So Tactical Nerds going to be winning out game 4 here for themselves here. Let me double check. Let's go through some of the lineups. But what did we see in that game between Tactical Nerds and Vicious? I mean, again, a close game for a game where there's 3 players.
I have to say, Martini, what a chef's kiss of a game. Both of those teams just playing to their excellent level, and just at the end, just finding those opportunities and making it a 6-6 tie was just impressive to see. Gotta say, they had that chemistry and they just had beautiful shots. But I have to say, with the defense, I think the defense was really good, but they did have, both teams did have opportunities to score. So it was kind of like trading the ball back and forth there. But for Tactical Nerds, just having 3 players onto the team, I just gotta say, that's just pretty impressive going up with a pro team like Vicious here. Just what a game, Martini.
I think I was mostly impressed, honestly, by the sheer amount of goals, right? This is honestly what I think a high scoring game it looks like. And it felt like at one point, we just saw them basically trading goal for goal for goals. They're just going back and forth between both sides, and it was kind of insane. It was kind of insane, right? Seeing the sheer amount of goals happening. Maybe it's just to showcase how good the offensive ability of both of these teams are. Maybe to showcase maybe there's some work to be done on the defensive side here. There's only a couple of times where we didn't see any strong holds on possession or defense, right? It was almost just a battle of who can just score a little bit more than the other team between these two here. But we'll be going into a pretty quick ad break. Again, I'm so sorry to send y'all back off, but hey, at least today isn't too bad, right? We'll be going into the upcoming games pretty soon here, but that was game 4. We'll be going into game 5 pretty soon, and again, that'll be the last cast of the day here, so we'll see y'all in just a bit. Will be not too long.
VR Master League and Another Axiom are proud to introduce the Phoenix Driftball Invitational, Orion Drift's first ever on-stage tournament at VRMLCon 2025. For those attending the event, gather your team and enter for a chance to play on stage and compete for the $5,000 grand prize.
The format is simple. Phase 1 is an online open qualifier bracket where every team that enters will battle it out for a top seed. The top 16 teams from the qualifier will earn their spot on stage and move forward to compete at VRMLCon on July 27th.
The competition truly begins with the Phoenix phase, a single elimination bracket played in person across 2 different stages throughout the day. It all culminates in the Driftball Grand Finals, the closing act of the event, where only one champion can be crowned.
Want to throw your hat in the ring? Use the VRML Discords to find a team of fellow attendees and sign up using the form in the server. Just remember, all players must have tickets and be attending the event to sign up. Online players will not be eligible for the Phoenix stage.
VRMLCon 2025 is shaping up to be the event of a lifetime. Don't miss your chance for an unforgettable VR experience. Get your tickets and sign up for the Phoenix Invitational today.
Prepare to start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point.
VR Master League and Another Axiom are proud.
Man, I love when the counter says 5 minutes and we come in early. And that's good for the viewers, right? That's less waiting time for you there. But hey, this will be the last matchup today of the Swiss-style preliminary matchup for the Phoenix Invitational tournament here. Again, VRMLCon is going to be in a month. So if you're not going to be this, it's time to buy your tickets, show up, see how these teams are going to be, and get to see these players perform live. We'll be watching Big Backs and Nova. And, you know, we've casted Big Backs several times on the B stream here several times. I think Nova's the first time we'll be picking them up here, but I recognize a lot of names here. I mean, we've seen Venom, Flair, Rainsy. I know a lot of these names on the Nova side here. Funny enough, I think Flair had reached out to me recently to get some more practice on casting. So, hey, I'm not going to advertise my casting, practice because I've already gotten enough DMs. But we'll be getting started pretty soon here, Retrocat. What do you expect to see, right? We saw Big Backs and Nova. Right now, the seeding, I believe, is 5 and 6. So these teams are very close to each other right now in terms of seeding. And I'm excited to see what comes out from this game.
I think what we're going to see, Martini, is a high competitive match right here as Ranzy's going to take possession of the ball, and just like that, not even 30 seconds into the game, with the first point going to Nova.
Yeah, looking great already coming out from Nova, starting off great there. Gith Yankee sends it over to Chowtown. 93 moving it down here, sends it over, but Rainsy picking up on the back end there and playing that beautiful ceiling carving off the top here. And Gith Yankee coming in for the last shot. No, misses it as the defender's coming in. And it's all a mayhem right now as Big Backs have been struggling to get the shot. And Nova, I mean, off to a hot start.
The tall dude's going to be rushing down to the field, trying to get that possession of the ball. Doesn't really miss as Rainsy trying to get that possession right there. As Styles is going to throw that right back up down to the field. Going to be going back to Pebbles. Pebbles going straight up onto the top right here, taking possession of the ball, trying to rush in. But the defense of Big Backs is unstoppable right now as Chowtown does get that possession, going straight up onto the table right here. Going to go rushing straight back down to the field. But Felix pushing it out of his hand.
Yeah, Chowtown keeping that possession for the time of being, having to dodge some of these defenders coming in here, looking for some jukes, left and right, going in for the shot. No, goes for the pass. Goes, unfortunately, a little bit past tall dude's hand as Rainsy running it down the side. I think it's Bridge, running down the side here off of Bridge. But, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4 of those Big Backs attackers, they've really won possession right now, and they're trying to best really maximize it right here as they just cannot get a good score here. I mean, this Nova defense has just been holding them back.
Looks like Pebbles is trying to get that possession right here. That's going in. He's going to be ball hugging that right there. That's going straight back up to Venom. Venom's taking it up. He's going to be throwing it straight back down to the field, trying to get that back to Rainsy as Pebbles does take that possession back again. As he's going to be rushing down to the field. Got to say, Big Backs is really stepping up their defensive play. I really got to say, they do not have a moment. Nova does not really have a moment to breathe because they are pushing them very, very, very much.
I mean, Big Backs, they've been pushing so much, but they just not been able to get any great goal scoring opportunities. I think I've seen it time and time again, this Nova defense shuts them down. So while they're getting hammered, they're not really getting hammered, if that makes sense. Like, they're not getting good goal scoring opportunities here. It's just basically Nova just constantly defending. But, I mean, does it matter if they can't even get one opportunity to go in?
Yeah, I really think that it's just incredible, and I think they can have that opportunity of getting a bunch of points in with their defensive play of them actually just pushing the ball. Looks like Chowtown is going to be taking that possession, going to be rushing straight up to the goal, maybe a possible point, but Venom right there stopping him. He's going back to the Big Back side as it's going to be swooped in by Pebbles as they're going to be rushing straight into this corner, but Chowtown coming up on top, going to be doing a wicked ceiling carve, going to be throwing it back to tall dude, getting that possession, but really close for Renzi, trying to get that possession onto the air right now for a beautiful coverage.
And that's what I'm saying, right? Big Backs, I think, is doing a good job at keeping that offensive pressure up, but Nova's been doing a great job at not giving them any good opportunities here. It's kind of like, you know, unmovable object versus unstoppable, or what is it? Immovable object versus unstoppable force or some shit, something like that. Something like that. Something like that here, as they've been struggling to get this attack to go and develop here. Because, again, Nova hasn't had great goal scoring opportunities, but Big Backs haven't been able to capitalize on any of their possession plays here.
So he's going up as Chow Tao is trying to get that. He's trying to get another opportunity, but they do get that opportunity. That's just a swoop in and just scoring that into the goal. But it looks like they are currently getting kiwied right now. As Tall Dude does kind of back off from the kiwi right there, going back to Felix. Felix is jumping up into the air. He's going to pass it right up the Pebbles. He's going back up to Ramsey. Ramsey slamming it down, but Styles just in there like a superhero, just slamming it down and slamming it right back down to the field. But hey, that's fine.
Yeah, 1-1 right now. We're looking at potential overtime opportunity here. Felix playing off the top, going off a nest, going forward, gets tackled, and Gith Yankee tried to send that deep, but it doesn't work here. It gets picked up, unfortunately. But again, this possession is just back and forth between these two teams here. Chowtown off of the halo here, goes in for that pass. Tall Dude gets tackled though, and again the foresight, the defensive foresight by Nova here has been keeping them from getting scored on at all. Venom sending it over to Pebbles. Pebbles having it, but no, Tall Dude, never mind. Gith Yankee for the follow-up here. Can they take the long shot? Is that enough to make it in? Is that actually going to get in? It's right off at the side, and talk about just missing.
Yikes. Looks like they're going to be throwing that back as there's 1 second. It could go into overtime. We are going into overtime here. Could be anybody's game right here. Is really intense as Tall Dudes is going to take that up. Is he going to go for the opportunity? But oh, just a miss, but Styles getting it up. They're going to be tackling after the goal. But going back to Chowtown, is he going to throw it back to his teammate? But overall, Felix takes that possession. He's going to be ceiling, carving straight onto the ceiling. Going to be rushing straight on the halo. Is he going to go for the shot? Somebody is going on to the behind him, going back to Ramsey. Ramsey slamming into the goal. And the game going to Nova.
Unite us.
Oh man, I mean Nova. This was, I wasn't sure who would win, right? The team that had the most, I think, possession time, or the team that had great defensive holds, right? We saw Nova basically be attacked time and time again from big backs, but they were preventing them from getting any good shots there. And when they finally did get attacking pressure, Nova did score for the most part, right? We saw that in the end there by Nova. But big backs, they're so close, right? They're right there. They're knocking on the door, but they just can't quite get in.
Say Martini, defense on this, unlike last game, I think the defense is just god tier at this point. Just from what we've been seeing, that both teams can stand their ground in defense, and I think that in this next game, it could be like the same thing with defensive play. It could be a 1-1 to overtime again, but we're just gonna have to see.
Yeah, Nova here already off to a good start. One round in the pocket. Can they get a second one? Finish out the series a little bit early here, but I want to see if big backs can fight back and maybe force us into a tiebreaker round 3.
Looks like they are going to be going straight up onto the air, going back to Chowtown. Chowtown taking possession up onto the air right here. Is going straight back up to Venom. He's throwing that straight under tunnel right there. Could be anybody's possession right here as they're going to be fighting straight under tunnel right now, going straight back up, taking possession, but losing that possession. Going back to Pebbles right here, then throwing it back down to the field, going back to Chowtown. Could they have an opportunity? It's just Pebbles in the goal, throwing it, bouncing it back off the backboard right here. Going back to Felix. Could Felix take that and going back to Ramsey? Could this be another shot into the goal? But no, the defense is just on point here, Martini.
Yeah, on point for sure, and the big backs trying to fight back, but it looks like Nova moving it down, gets picked up a couple times by these defenders. Gith Yankee though going for the 1v2. Can they take the shot? They can, and that's gonna be big backs finally starting off with a lead here.
Seeing that opportunity on the top of the goal and just scoring it in. What a chef's kiss of a goal as Ramsey does take that possession of the ball, going straight up onto here, but losing it as it's going back to Felix. Felix taking possession of the ball, wing, looking for a pass right now, or trying to go for the goal. And he takes that opportunity, he slams it to the goal, making it 1-1.
Yeah, Nova is cooking, and so is Big Backs here. I mean, they're both equally cooking. That's why I chose this match, because I thought it'd be a closer matchup. I mean, 5th and 6th seed for now. Obviously one of these teams might be moving up after this in terms of seeding here. Big Backs playing off of the back of each other here, getting a great leash right now. Can they maximize it? No, Felix goes in for a beautiful tackle, sends it deep in to the Big Backs defensive half here as Pebbles coming in for the follow-up as Tall Dude goes in for the tackle, misses, sends it over the Rainsy going in here. Can they take the shot? Can they get a pass? No, goes a little too wide, and Chowtown picks it up here, moving it down.
Chowtown takes possession of the ball, going straight back up the Pebbles, looking for the opportunity and swishing it. Looks like he's just gonna bounce off the Geo and not really be it, but a self goal straight into the goal. Yikes, and Felix right now, he's going, oh no.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Nothing worse than a self-goal when you're trying to clear it out here. Chowtown playing off a Halo. Sends it over to Tall Dude and gets Yankee. Sends the pass. Can't quite connect, but it's still one more opportunity from Chowtown as they are playing off of the backboard here. Looking for their teammate. Sends it back to Styles. Styles can't capitalize, though, and Venom goes in for that clear to the side, but it's not quite out of play here.
I say Styles taking possession of the ball, but getting knocked over the Venom. Venom being the king of defense on the Nova team right here, as I've been seeing. Pebbles taking that possession, rushing straight down to the field, gaining that boost. I mean, jumping up. Could he be passing for another? Going back to Ramsey, but gets intercepted. And that is just incredible interception right there as it's going straight onto the other side, going right back to Felix. Going to be swooping down, gaining that boost. Could be throwing it back to Ramsey or just going for that pass. Is he going to slam it in? And he is with a...
And that's the goal. My circuits, what a goal.
Off the rip here, Nova now 3-1, minute and a half about for the big backs. And this is when we're talking about mathematical time. They gotta do something soon here. Time is starting to count down. Chowdown off the top, sends it to Styles, looking for that other opportunity. Gets picked up by Venom, and you know, you were talking earlier about that defensive pressure by Venom, and he definitely has been there time and time again on these big backs players.
Gotta say, that was just incredible defense from Venom and just the rest of the team in general. But talk about an incredible shot right there. Going 3-2. This could be an overtime.
Back to the action.
Might be an overtime, could be an overtime. We'll see if it does. We have a minute left here. Rainsy off the top, sends it off of the backboard. Gets picked by Chowtown, sliding off of the top with that beautiful ceiling carve there, but they still are able to manage possession. Never mind, there's a turnover there already again by Gith. The Yankee moving down into a 1v2, takes a pass, but can't quite connect as Venom again holds the ball in their hand.
Venom bouncing off Donut right there as he's trying to take possession of the ball. Ramsey is going to be swooping that straight up, trying to go for a shot, but just the sheer defense of big backs is incredible as they're going to be booming that straight back into the ball. But Venom is going to be there to cover it. It's going back to Styles as Venom's going to be pushing back there.
Final half-minute
that back to his teammate. Looks like there is 20 seconds remaining on the clock. Time is of the essence, Martini.
Time is of the essence, but Nova has possession here. This is where you're going to maximize time, kill the time, because you don't want big backs to get any scoring opportunity here. And honestly, this is the ideal situation. Sends it over to Pebbles. Can't quite connect, though. Chowtown with the follow-up. Trying to move it down the arena as fast as possible here, but 10 seconds on. They can't quite do it. I think this might be going the way of Nova here as it does count down, and that's going to be... potentially, yeah, no, Yankee picks it up. Can they get one last one? This is it. They can. Big Backs comes in with the overtime clutch, and I mean, wow.
To the red dunes of Mars and beyond.
Martini with all the willpower, big backs just standing their ground on their offense and throwing it in, not letting the ball touch the ground. It could be anybody's game right now as big backs is going to be trying to throw that back down. Chowtown's taking possession of the ball, looking for it. He's going to be throwing it back up to his teammate, but doesn't really get that as Venom's going to be taking it back. They're going to be rushing straight back in. It is 3-3 right now. Could be anybody's.
Yeah, only one goal needing to separate these two teams right now. We might be seeing a round 3. We might be seeing just a finish to the series depending on which one of these sides can get this last one. Rainsy coming in for the final shot here, takes it, and I think that's actually going to be it. Here's Nova gets a beautiful finish there. And just for a quick second, I was hoping Nova. Honestly, I wanted to see a round 3. You know, I wanted to see a round 3 coming out from big backs that we've seen them on stream, but I can respect when I see a team hold it down here.
I gotta say, I really wanted to see a third round too.
Right.
That was an incredible game, just defensively and offensively. I feel like for the people that are watching, I really think some of them could have been on the edge of their seats watching that 3-3 overtime right there. But from the first game, I think Nova, being the supernova they is, just securing both of those wins and just furthering their seat in VRMLCon.
Yeah, we saw them come right off the top there, right? They had a beautiful goal, I think, round 1, so quick into the round, and it was interesting to see these two teams play against each other, right? We saw Nova have great defensive play against the other team. We saw, you know, what was their name again? Oh my goodness, I just forgot. We saw it's not Tactical Nerds. What is their name? We were just talking about what's the purple team name? I already forgot. Big
no
bags.
doubt
Oh my
big
goodness. We saw
big
big bags. I'm so sorry, stream. Big bags. We saw big bags, have so many goal scoring opportunities. I think they missed out on some of those. They were so close, right? They had so many times where they had the possession. They had so much possession on their attacking side here. Not able to quite have any good turnovers, unfortunately, but they had a good opportunity. I mean, we can see here, right? We see glimpses of them almost getting away. We saw a beautiful overtime shot there that forced them to play one more goal there, but unfortunately they couldn't capitalize off of that.
Yeah, it was just incredible game overall. Just a lot of back and forth from them. Just, I gotta say, shout out to Venom for that incredible defensive play from that game, and shout out to like Tall Dude and just from both of those teams. Just great defensive play and offensive play. What a chef's kiss of a game. Wow, Martini. That was incredible.
Hey, this is why I chose this cast, because I saw Big Backs Nova. They were 5 and 6 seats. I'm like, hey, that looks like a close seating. Especially by now, right? We're 5 games in. The seating is probably gonna be as close as we possibly can get. Which will be exciting to see here, right? So, unfortunately, that is going to be it for all we have today. But hey, Fred, now we do have VRMLCon coming up in just a month here. Obviously, all these teams will be seeing them go on to VRMLCon as they got their seeding here. Let me see if I have the most up-to-date seeding. I believe they entered everything in. It looks like, besides Tactical Nerds and Ivy, let's let that finish up, and then we'll do a seeding thing at the end and talk about what teams are what going forward here. But again, reminder to everyone on the stream, this is for the Phoenix Invitational Tournament next month here. So if you want to see any of these players play live, that is the time to get your tickets, show up, and hopefully I'll get to see y'all in Phoenix, because I'll be there with a lot of other casters, production team, a lot of the VRML staff and mod. And to me, it's always a very fun, exciting day, because that weekend it's just so fun seeing not just Orion Drift, which I love Orion Drift, but you see every other competitive league that we have going on. We see a lot of the other top tier players playing in those leagues. Also, most of them playing for their own prize pools for the most part. I'll be, I believe, casting for Orion Drift and also for the Breacher side. So I'll be having so much fun out there. You'll be seeing me in my suit and everything, suited out, just for the cast and just for the con here. But it's always exciting, the con. Let me know in the chat if anyone has any questions on the con, what you expect to see, what's expected. I will say it's Phoenix, so definitely be ready for the hot temperature, right? I'm definitely be bringing a lot of water, because it's definitely going to be hot out there. But I'll be doing an IRL stream, which will be fun, because I've never done anything like that. But I feel like for something so cool like the con, you got to do something different here. But anyways, for those that stuck around, this is going to be the final seeding for VRMLCon. Looks like Ignite will be first place, Tactical Nerds in second seeding, Rapid at third, Vicious at fourth, IVNA at fifth, Nova at sixth, Zat at seventh, and Big Backs at 8th seed, unfortunately. So I believe Ignite and Big Backs will be one of the first games we see at the con. So best of luck to the Big Backser. That'll be a little bit challenging for sure here, because again, seeding will impact who you play. It'll impact who you play going into the con here. But I believe that is all we're gonna have today. RetroCat, do you have any last words before we head out?
Everybody, if you're going to VRMLCon, stay hydrated. Like it said, Martini, it's going to be really hot in Phoenix, Arizona, and just have fun. And it's been great, Martini. It's been great casting these teams today, and I cannot wait to watch VRMLCon and see these teams compete.
I mean, yeah, it'll be exciting to see it live, and nothing beats casting live. So I'll hopefully see y'all there. If not, see us on the stream, because remember, you don't have to be in person. We do have a stream still to see all these live games and great players. But I did want to give one final shout out to, of course, my personal favorite sponsor. Cannot ever give them enough love. Another Axiom for providing us with the game we love, and of course for supporting us and VRML and the tournaments going on. And of course, this is all for the VRML Con. If you have not already paid and got your ticket to check out these live events and check us out in Phoenix, definitely head over to the VRML Con website and make sure to grab your tickets. I'm excited to see more and more players live, because I believe there's gonna be so many people coming out. So of course, thanks for coming out and watching the VRML Con preliminaries. We appreciate seeing you all here today, and of course, remember to subscribe, leave a like, show some love for the channel. It's greatly appreciated. But hopefully we'll see y'all in the next cast. In terms of OD, we'll see y'all at the VRML Con cast there. But of course, have a good weekend.
Orion Drift VRML is brought to you by Another Axiom, Helga, the esports manager. Thanks for watching VRML.